Hi, this is Jeff, and welcome to first week of postseason to the countdown. I am joined today by Ranter,
Hello.
Kernmaster,
I'm eating a chicken tendy.
and Slimeall from Mortal
What
Wombat.
is up?
Navino can't be here this week due to some unfortunate circumstances, but Ranter is going to try
Is it
and
really
replace him.
unfortunate?
I mean, it's nice. It's nice. But we got Slimeall here, back up Mortal Wombat, so it all works out, I guess.
Yes, just supply the copium.
It's
Not-
okay. I'm the Vino now.
That's scary.
What would Navino say right now?
I have no idea.
That's fair. Well, let's get started with the recap, right? Let's get started talking about last week's games.
All right, so the recap, we'll start with the opening match on my screen. It's Double Cap versus MI6. Double Cap won 3-1. Player of the match was Category, and honorable mention was Basket. So anything we want to talk about that series going in?
Kurt, you want to start? You are here from the team.
If Kern's dead, I'll talk about it because I'm actually from Double Cap.
You go first. Sorry, my cat
Okay.
is being good.
You're good.
So I feel like we had the main control of this the tempo the whole series, and the only map we really choked was Kings, and that should have been like a 3-0 for us, but it happens and mistakes do happen. I definitely feel like MI6 put up a fight towards the second half of the series, but I feel like we just controlled the tempo most of the time and we just won.
That Gibraltar map was close. I think
Gibraltar.
or not
You said
Gibraltar.
Gibraltar
I'm sorry,
twice.
Rialto. MI6 was very close to holding that first one, but Wooly went a little battle mercy, I think, at the wrong time. Their Pharah got killed, and you guys got onto the point quicker. That was a bizarre fight.
Hey, it makes up for the last fight on Kings, though.
Yeah, yeah. And then Kings, I thought, like we talked about before, you guys controlled the tempo really well. I thought Double Cut
And then-
played really well. And then
Laura decided, hey, I'm gonna go in the back line, and then he killed like 4 people, and no one said anything. So
And it wasn't even a hard flank either. It was just like he
Yeah.
walked through the doorway to Mega and then out the other doorway, like around basically a little pillar, and just had free backline access with no one seeing him.
like,
Yeah.
But like I said, when that Rialto map, like, it was so close to being a full hold there, but then you guys just steamrolled through second and everything, like, and then Double Cap is looking scary, right? Like, I don't know what you're feeling, Slimeall, but I have one of them as one of my playoff favorites. The other two can.
Yeah, no,
Really?
I very much agree. I with pretty much everything that you said. Rialto was really close. You guys definitely clutched up on first point, and then again, like you said, it just felt like you guys were in control on Kings, and then I was kind of just like waiting for you guys to win the map, and then I looked and it was like, oh no, there's only 30 seconds left. Like they might not win this, and then the hero play from Laura to like really seal it. But yeah, no, I agree. Double Cap is looking like super strong. Definitely one of the teams that I would not like to fall to the losers bracket immediately.
Is there any like comments we want to bring up on MI6, or should we move on to the next match?
I think, how do I put this? I feel like every single part of their team is super inconsistent in gameplay. And I'm not, like, it's never all at once, but I feel like if 3 people on that team are playing well, the other 3 aren't. And I feel like that just hurts every week, because this team is like, you can never predict what's going to happen. Even though they're 5-2 and they've looked a lot better than people are expecting, it feels like what happens isn't what you're expecting. Like, from like the first few weeks, they went to 5 maps with Kappa early. They went to... Fuck. I'm trying to think of their first few weeks.
They
Didn't
almost
they go
lost
to map
to
5
Thought
with
Police.
TP as well? Yeah, they went to map 5 with Thought Police. They played an Exodus team who had like a blow up, and they went to 5 with Mortal Wombat, and it just
Yeah,
it
I
feels like
unfortunately was not there.
yeah, they went to map 5.
They still won
against a team
fair
who
and
didn't
square
have
though.
full.
Like props to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree that they're like a good team, and like when they have pop-off moments, whether it's DPS, tanks, even supports, when they're doing good, they look like a top team, but I feel like their like level of consistency has never been the same each week. I feel like they've always been a different level of like how good they are, and that could easily hurt them in the playoffs.
I could put that in a simpler term. They just play down to your opponent.
Screw you.
They really do. They like if you think about it, they play really close with the bad teams, but they also play really close with the top tier teams. It's very strange. Like I will say they're consistent performers. It's just their DPS, but like I will agree mostly that they're just inconsistent.
I think like what they lack in like inconsistent micro, they sort of normally would make up with fairly consistent macro, where they seem to be on the same page as far as like what they want to do. They're maybe just not always doing it in the right way. Like a couple people aren't doing their job correctly, it seems. But I feel like this week, and I might be totally wrong, so MI6 people let me know. From what I heard, I think Fifi did like a fair amount of calling. So I'm like kind of wondering if like losing her in the comms and like planning and maybe calling tempo or whatnot is like gonna hurt them, and it might be like too hard for them to like, I guess, like get their new callers set up to be having a good comm structure and like be aggressive, because like that's again why it sort of felt like DC was in control of King's Row specifically, is they like just, it seemed like they never wanted to do anything. They kind of were just like, oh, we'll just pop High Noon and hopefully Laura kills 4, and then we can just walk forward after.
The Sigma picks were really... They played Sigma a lot, and I just remember me thinking, especially in the first 2 maps, and me thinking, they're not getting any value on the Sig, like, pretty consistently, and that's... I just don't think they were playing it right. Like, that's another thing. Mentioning Siri, I just remembered that.
I mean, Jeff, since we're both very familiar with Siri, we both know that she's not particularly that great on Sigma. She's more of a diva player, and we both know that because Volcanic days.
Yeah, and I just don't get why they were playing the Sig that much, especially on like King's Row.
The problem with that is I wasn't able to watch most of the game like during the stream, but I went back. Frozen was getting consistent High Noon kills even when Citrator was on Diva, and it felt like Frozen was never getting contested off of High Noons. Like he would randomly get a 3k High Noon just because no one contested them, and that's the Diva's job. And it felt like a lot of the time like they weren't even focusing like the main like obviously Diva ults, edible ults, and it just feels like I think it was more of a, hey, we signed this person a week ago and we're still not comfortable type thing. I think with a bit more practice, they might slowly get back into like what they seemed a little bit earlier in the few weeks prior. But it's like I think just randomly adding a new piece like so close into the playoffs and after playing with Fifi for the whole season is also really hard to just do.
It's hard to integrate players. Yeah, I would agree.
All right, moving on to the next series, we had Capitalism versus Vitalize, and Capitalism actually gets their first win. Capitalism wins 3-1. Player of the match was Commercial. Honorable mentions for Jackson, Moon, and Greek. So, any thoughts about this series besides Pinky Vitalize like just threw the bag here?
It was the last game played, and there was nothing to play for, right? Like, maybe Vitalize isn't, that gonna be a super contender. Like they beat Mortal Wombats, but like in the end, I don't think my opinion.
The Romy Sig.
Yeah,
that is quite good.
Yeah, my opinion on the team just hasn't changed based on this game really, and it's good that Capitalism got a win, but I at least they didn't deserve to go winless based on their performances. So that's fine.
The iconic thing was the Nova DPS, though.
Yeah.
That was hitting
what was
different.
his account name?
Something about Klingon Kid, or Kling... It had Kling in it.
Yeah, something.
I had no idea what the account was. I just thought it was funny how he was on freaking Pharah and just destroying
Pharah, for a good, 3 minutes, was probably the best Pharah in Intermediate, and then it stopped. But for those 3 minutes, he was a baller.
Most improved player nominee in the
Real.
Someone not on MI6?
I do want to mention, obviously we don't know how hard Vitalize was trying, so it's hard to really put it into perspective. And I agree with what you said, Jeff. Like, my opinion hasn't changed that much, but the fact that they took a map but didn't take the second one really makes me think like that Gibraltar match, they were trying to win. And they just barely won over Kappa with Nova on DPS. And I'm wondering, like, not having Jolt there, is that big? Because in my eyes, I see Kree as probably their best DPS. And it's weird seeing, like, again, I don't know how hard they were trying, but it's weird to see them kind of struggle when they have their best DPS lineup out. And it just, my opinion hasn't changed, but I'm cautious of, like, thinking Vitalize can do anything in the playoffs.
I did help warm them up, so for that match, and I can say it seemed like the first map they were taking serious, and then the second map of the warm up, it kind of just turned into like a sort of puggy meme game, where
Okay,
like
well,
Copy
that's not
Dog
good
was
to hear.
like trying to C9 on Roadhog on Eichenwald, and a bunch of just weird stuff happened. So I don't know if they kind of were like, do we really need to take this game serious? Like, let's just have fun. So that mentality might have switched, but I don't know. My guess is if that was my team, I would say like let's just play like some basic comps, and then maybe we try to win. If it doesn't work, then we just full commit to just having a fun time. And I think that's
Yeah.
probably what they did. At least
Fair
my
enough.
best guess.
Congrats on the win, Capitalism, though. You
Yeah.
did definitely deserve it, I think.
Yeah,
Shout out
genuinely
to
did.
Jackson. Best mercy.
All right, moving on from the toilet bowl match, we'll be talking about Exodus versus Mortal Wombat. Exodus won this series 3-0 with only the player of the match being Laser, 0 honorable mentions. So I'm assuming he just hard carried that series, and he
I
definitely
agree.
did. From watching, yeah, he just definitely did.
Sly, you want to start with this one? It's your game.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely went into this match like not really caring if we won or lost, mainly because we were thinking like, yeah, obviously we want to win. Like, don't get me wrong, we were not throwing, we were trying. I'm not trying to take that away from Exodus at all. We went in and we kind of just like, whatever happens happens. We either get winners bracket or we get a week extra to just like scrim more and prepare. And then obviously like the scheduling changed. That's no longer the case. But specifically Li Xiang and Kings, I think were super winnable for us. Like Exodus played pretty well, but we just kind of like choked and just like kind of didn't, like there was like key moments where we needed like certain things to happen. And that's just like from across the board, like everyone on the team could have played better. But I think if a couple little moments go a different way, then it doesn't take that much to shift it into us winning both Li Xiang or Kings.
I would
And Gibraltar,
agree.
we just like never moved. We like took map control and then we just chilled.
I would
that
I
wasn't
would
great.
agree. Like Kings Row was unlucky. Like you guys, yeah, you had a win con, right? Like and it just didn't go through in the end. But saying that, I think Exodus showed they were pretty flexible when it came to comps. I think they were
Oh yeah.
they were running a few comps just better, other comps better, honestly, to a degree. I think everyone would be lying if they said Exodus didn't look like a really good team right now. They played really, really well.
See, I'm not gonna disagree on that part. I do agree they look like a good team, and I think they're synergizing really well as like a kind of new group because they've only had like what 3 weeks to have this like kind of new roster, especially since they added Toxicinator, who's now their like ball / DPS specialist. But the comps they're something in my throat. The comps they're running are like they're super counterable. And I think they were joking about like why play Brawl on King's Row when you could just play this, but like against Mortal Wombat, there were moments where their comp was inferior. It had no way of winning, but it felt like Mortal Wombat was getting like too caught up on like one thing. Like half their team would push in and half their team would stay back, and it got really disorganized as a brawl, so it never really accomplished what it wanted to. And so they got value off of either Laser or Toxicinator getting a grab from Kate, just getting free value because half their team was already gone. But like the double shield comp, that was not working, at least for their first defense. It just got rolled over instantly. They had like 0 actual value off the comp until Mortal Wombat started like screwing up. So Exodus is really good at seeing the mistakes they were Mortal Wombat was doing and just like taking advantage of it. But I feel like if they go against a team that like has a little bit of a more like togethered idea on what to do again, like if they're composed and say, hey, they're playing a weird comp, let's think, how does our comp defeat their comp, and actually play it like, you do have to play it to perfection because it's a weird comp. You're not expecting it on King's Row, but if you do it correctly, that comp won't get the value that Exodus was getting. And I feel like that happened on Busan. I mean, not Busan, Lijiang as well, because they played the ball comp on like the maps you just wouldn't expect.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the point I was making earlier on the week when people were talking about this match, like just like talking in one of the Discord chats. I was saying like we were playing a pretty, like it just Brawl just isn't great right now. So and again, I'm not taking anything away from Exodus. Like they won, they are looking like a good team, but I think specifically in that game, the fact that like we made those first 2 maps so close when, I don't know, theoretically they should be kind of beating us, doesn't, I don't know, I think if Exodus can definitely clean up their play, but I think they're more vulnerable than they and the rest of the league probably think.
Agreed. Also, Laser kind of just popped off on Gibraltar.
Oh yeah, he went he did amazing that whole series, not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they discussed everything I was going to talk about, so I'd probably move on to the next series.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Fine.
We have the forfeit series where Papega only really played 1 map and just didn't care for the rest of the series. Tenacity won for real. Papega forfeits after 1 map. We don't really have a player of the match for this because it's a forfeit, but we do get to talk about the cool Jenga tower in King's Row.
that was sick, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there's really not much else to say. Tenacity is a good team still, but yeah.
I mean, they I don't know if that was the roster they want to field later, but they had iMustache on off tank in their first map, so it's like I don't know if they had their full roster or not. I kind of skimmed through that game because I realized this game does not matter, and I'm not going to talk about it. But like,
they're probably waiting on Oats to get back.
Tenacity's still good team. That's the takeaway.
Yeah, they're still a good team. I think they're probably just waiting for Oats to get back or whatever he's doing. And that's mainly
I'm pretty sure he was on vacation and he was just coming back. He's been on like a 45 frame laptop for the last like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We did play him today, and
wow.
he seemed to be
back
like,
to Oats.
actually playing. So
yeah.
Well, talking about Oats. Wait, are we talking about Oats? Okay, we're talking about the MVP discussion now. So,
as much as he's a cool guy, I'm just saying now, if Rav is an MVP, I'm calling this rigged.
So it's yeah, let's touch on, I guess, the top 3 nominees for MVP are Ravioli, Oats, and Reborn. Any shocker surprises there?
Reborn a little bit, but he kind of deserves it.
I think, no offense, Slimel, if Mortal Wombat had a better record and like they were like winning games, that would be off of Reborn, and I think this like Reborn being in the MVP conversation would be a lot like bigger of a topic. But since they're what 3 and 4, they've kind of lost games they shouldn't have, like expected games they should have won. It feels like his nominee is kind of just like a tip of the hat to him, like, hey, good stuff on playing on a team, but like you're most likely not going to get it, which is unfortunate. But
yeah,
like,
no, I not offense taken at all. I knew you were gonna say that from us talking earlier in the week, and I just 100% agree with you. Like that's totally true.
I think there's not a lot of DC there, right? Like not a whole lot, and I think I think a lot of people may have convinced themselves that DC is just a really good roster and they don't have that many but like I think Frozen's been it's unlucky that Frozen's
I think the only
MVP.
person you could consider for DC is Frozen, mostly because Pongo and Zoom have split time because of time shit, like personal stuff. But I think Frozen's been really consistent over the season. And then I also want to bring up, I understand people loved Oats for the first 4 weeks, but once he went onto laptop, his play was not as good. And I just want to give a shout out to iMustache, because I feel like that dude has been like the sole best flex support this whole season, and he's not
Yeah.
even been contested.
It's
and I
not
feel
close,
like
I think.
he deserves like some recognition. I would have put him in the MVP over Oates. More or less because Oates hasn't been able to like.
I wouldn't put him in the MVP discussion, but I will shout him out because I do agree that he is just declared #1 flex support. I wouldn't give him an MVP nod though. I feel like there's just other players that you could give it to, like in general from other teams. And I even try to be biased to like a DC candidate. Like you could choose an MI6 candidate, you could choose an X's candidate. I'm saying like, I feel like it's just Rav's team, and he just deserves it the most out of anybody on that team.
No, Rav. If Rav doesn't get MVP, I'm going to be very angry, as he's been like by far the best player in Inter as of right now.
100%.
I would agree. I'm just gonna touch on, these are gonna be the other awards, so I'll just read them all off really quick and we can talk about all of them at once, kind of. But
wait, so like as a jumble, or are we gonna go like?
I'm just gonna read off the nominees right now, and then I guess I'll just do Clutch next. So Clutch, Ravioli, Oates, and Swifters. I think they all deserve it. We can just
Rav.
What about Lore? I don't know why he's not a nomination.
Yeah, I honestly, this is the award I'd give to Reborn, because I did
too.
I did a little bit of
like, no offense to before you go on, like, no offense, I feel like Oates and Swift just shouldn't be on here, and this should be Laura and Reborn. Like, I really do. But that's beside the point.
I think Oates for Reborn makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think Swifters has had a lot of moments in the past. He didn't have his best game against.
I agree with Swifters.
I think Ravioli has had a bunch of like.
I feel like Rav's is gonna win every fucking award.
But like, if he gets MVP, then yeah, I think Reborn makes sense here in that hypothetical. I do like what you're saying. It makes sense. Yeah. Improved Swifters, Wooly, Fifi.
It's
MI6.
MI6. I mean, do we give it to the Australian? Do we give it to the DPS that went to off tank, or do we just give it to a consistent DPS who's been improving slowly?
I understand.
I voted for Wooly because I love Wooly.
Yeah, no, I give it to
and
Wooly.
I think he has improved a lot.
I gave it to Wooly too. I just think he's improved the most out of all of these three.
On the outside, I can understand why people thought like just throw in MI6 players, but I feel like there are definitely other choices for people to like actually be nominated. I'm gonna give a few shoutouts right now. I'll say Navino, I'll say Laser, and then Deflex, because people are gonna know this. Deflex is understandable, but he played as an Ono one trick in season 2, and now he's like actually a decent hit scan, so I gave him props there. But I can understand why other people didn't vote him. But Laser went from Vertigo season 3 to like very unfortunate, but it was a bad time on Vertigo for Laser, and he came out and decided to carry Exodus even through the blow up. And then Navino, I think, has played a lot better than anyone was expecting. I don't know if he's actually improved over the season.
He has, yeah. As someone who's on his team, there was a lot of times in the beginning of the season where we're like, Nev, why are you there? Why are you boosting in like this? Where are you going? But like he's. And that's the thing with Navino, is like he would get value doing those things sometimes, and then obviously sometimes he would feed. But like for so long, even when it was like arguable that Monty was like just a better mechanical, and like just if no comms are involved, like Monty was probably the better player. But Navino just like kept us more together as a unit, and then has just toned down his like poor tendencies and is like way better. Like I 100% think he's like improved a ton. And also shout out to Nova, because I think I wasn't like super high on him based on like what I had seen on other leagues, but like he, even on a team that was losing every week besides the last one, like he was like one of him and Remy, I think, were the two people that I was always pretty impressed with, and like looked decent despite losing all their games.
And I'll talk about Laser later, because I agree, and I think it's really unlucky he isn't in the hit scan DPS.
I do.
But also, when I look at the talent there, it's really strong there, so I'll touch on it.
Yeah. I will say, I think Fifi should be on there. I think she, like, I'm not gonna lie. The last time I remember Fifi, they played silver. They were a silver DPS flexing in Interpugs in season 2, and that was the last time I saw her. And then now she's a very good off tank for MI6. I know they didn't play, but
she was on the
last week,
bench. She's
Yeah,
on the bench last season, and she like only could play like a game or two. But like when she went in, she like looked pretty strong.
I also think she's still a DPS. She's kind of pulling in the Pigeon phase. If that makes sense. Where Pigeon season 1 Bot Breakers was a DPS player on off tank. That's kind of like in her phase she is in right now. But I don't know if she's still a DPS or an off tank though. But I think she still is one DPS.
So, touching on rookie, Oats, Katagiri, and Dizzy are the nominees. I think they all deserve it. But I think Katagiri's my favorite. That's who I voted for. I think they've been very impactful, like pushing up to the playoffs. I always seeing impact plays coming out of it. Them like that's my thoughts, but there's no one I think got super snubbed here. There's some unlucky players that didn't make the cut, but I don't think anyone here shocks me.
My only you go.
I was gonna say I feel like I should just go to one of the off tanks here because I feel like Oats was strong in the first half. Katagiri is strong in the second half. You can coin flip on that one, in my opinion. I give it to Kata because I'm a DC bias, but I can see Oats winning this.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think if you don't put Oats for MVP and you pick Rav, which I think is probably the right decision, then I think you give Oats Rookie of the Year, because I don't think he really fits in with the clutch category too much, but as having played against like Oats and Katagiri both like in games and in scrims and in like pugs too, like for me Kato was always good, but Oats like stood out a little bit more like whenever I played him, and has like been the most annoying off tank to play against, so that's why I would go with him. But you can definitely make an argument for Kata. I can 100%.
I love Dizzy, but I just don't see him winning this award because I feel like his time splitting with Epic. I feel like his time splitting with Epic Shock. His time splitting with Epic Shock hurts him too much, in my opinion, to make a case for him. Even though I love that man, I should take him to Monkey Land.
He's so good.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah,
he deserves an award, but it's like you said, just the splits.
I mean,
like the same thing with Zoom and Pongo.
I also gonna feel bad too because like we'll talk about it later, but I feel like Pongo should get a Vayne take over him. But that's another discussion when we get to it.
We can move on to Sem. Or
wait, I do want to mention. I think Sem deserves a like just a nod. I feel like Sem has like what's it called? Surprised me. Yeah, I don't know. I heard he was like a mechanical freak in Pugs. Like he was like just killing everyone on Widow. But I was like really hesitant on like how he would play in like a team play. But he's surprised the fuck out of me for
He's
Mortal
quite good.
Yeah, he's quite gifted on the mouse and sticks.
I will say the next award though, my DC bias is gonna come out so hard on 7th Man because I am so pissed at this on nominations.
Yeah, where is Zoom, man?
Where is Zoom? Like actually.
Epic Shock,
not even on DC,
and Kate are the 7th man.
Like, no offense, there should not be 2 Tenacity people on here. It should just be Epic Shock or Opa. Like, this one or the other. There should not be 2 Tenacity. I'm just sorry.
Repeat the nominees.
Epic, Opa, and Kata.
Okay.
I mean, Cat. I'm saying Kata, but Cat.
Cat, yeah, sorry. My bad. You did the same thing I did. I did not know how to pronounce that. My bad.
Kate. But yeah, no, I think this award goes to Epic Shock. I feel like that's just kind of like said and done. I think Kate has played well over the past few games, like as a 7th man and now kind of starter, but I feel like they haven't played enough while Epic Shock has been the 7th man consistently. But I feel like whether it's Mattson or Sem or Silverstar or Silver Tulls or Basket, one of those two should be the 7th man. I don't know who, because I don't know who played more maps, but both of them were subbing in and out, and I feel like one of those two deserve it over Opa, who came in as like specifically a Tracer player. And that's cool to be a 7th man Tracer player, but I feel like it didn't get the value that like anyone else got.
The thing that I find ironic, you said Basket. Silver shouldn't be on the Flex Support All-Star because Basket played more series than Silver. And that's
I don't actually know if that's true.
No, I did. I counted them with Basket in the
I thought so.
Basket played more series on Flex Support. So if anything, Silver should be in the 7-man running.
Hold on,
No, I actually.
I know you said you counted, but I want to just like double check because I'm.
We can touch on that when we get. Let's
Yeah,
move
yeah,
into
yeah,
let's
go ahead.
let's go through kind of all the tanks at once just for time. So main tank, it's Dizzy, Pongo, Epic Shock. On off tank, it's Kata, Oats, and Katagiri. Kate. Okay. So those are both the. I think Pongo deserves main tank just because of Dizzy, Epic Shock. Like split time, Pongo's been way more important. DC has been playing great up until the playoffs now. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else you guys think about main tank. I think it's a little Andrew O not getting it over one of the tenacity people may have been nice. I think he's been really impactful, but that's about it for me.
I love Epic, but Andrew should be in over Epic. That's just me on that. Though.
I don't know. See, that I don't want to be like I love Dizzy, but I think Epic Shock was the better main tank for tenacity.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so tough. I wanna agree, but they both played really well.
I feel like Dizzy fits their style better though, and that's why
I agree to that to a degree. But when I did used to watch the games like consistently, it always felt like there was a disconnect from Dizzy going in as specifically on monkey comps. Dizzy would go in and there would be zero follow up, and Dizzy would either like just feed his brands out or need to primal, almost like what Pongo does, to be fair. But I feel like Epic Shock was like always just consistently like together with the team, whether it's brawl or ball comp, and it felt like he was more cohesive with the tenacity team. I don't know.
His
That's how
ball
I saw
looked really good in the early season, like really, and I think it looked good consistently. But yeah, that makes sense.
That was gonna be my argument because I feel like Dizzy, I feel like his hero pool's better and it fits their tempo more. But I feel like Epic's just kind of like their ball player, and that's kind of why I just rather have Andrew in over Epic. Not saying Epic's bad, I'm just saying I feel like Andrew would deserve that nomination more.
To be fair, I think Epic Shock played a few games because Dizzy couldn't make shit. So.
Yes, he got sent to Monkey. He got sent to Monkey Land.
Slimal, any thoughts? We talked about.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're all good picks. Like honestly, pick whoever you want. Like, I'll be happy with whoever gets it. I think they all.
Yeah, I don't think anyone doesn't deserve it out of those three.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the off tanks I mentioned earlier, but I think it's Oats. But it could be.
This
one's close.
I can't justify if he's in. Because he truly is like a seventh man, kind of like he was picked up mid-season.
Kate got in like a nomination for this.
I think if he's here the whole season, he very much deserves his place here.
Definitely.
But I think it just has to be. It's again, take your pick, Oats or Kata.
Yeah,
I'd go with Oats, but like I'd be happy with either.
I don't care who wins this one, to be honest, and I have DC bias, and I think Oats would have a strong case to win it.
It's either or.
It's either or on that one.
They both played well. They were both good off tanks. No one was expecting that. Well, yeah, no one was expecting them to like just come out of the bat as the top two. Just good stuff from both of them.
Hey, I kind of did. I thought they were gonna be top 5.
And I had no idea who either of those were.
I did. I only knew Oats because he was teammates with Bo Real, and I was the one that scouted Kata, so I knew those two were gonna be good. But
yeah, Hitscan, or we'll just move on. Hitscan DPS, Frozen Ravioli Lore. Like I said earlier, unlucky Laser didn't make it in. I think maybe he could go over Lore.
Wait. Well, I didn't even notice this.
Yeah.
What?
Laser didn't make this?
Yeah, Laser didn't make Hitscan.
I mean, to be fair, I do feel like these three candidates do deserve it. Even if Laser was also nominated, I think he would deserve it. I feel like Hitscan is such a competitive role that it's like...
Yeah, I
think... You can make a case for anybody, really.
Yeah, despite Laser being really good, I think just the pure fact that to start the season, they were running McCree almost like full time.
True.
So it's like if you're not starting, it's like harder to.
Laser played every match except for the match he wasn't able to make it.
Yeah, Laser wasn't.
Oh, really?
He was always Exodus. Yeah, he was always.
Then maybe I'm just wrong.
Laser was the only one.
I thought beginning of the season, Kree was playing more.
Kree played one match because he couldn't make it.
I was gonna say, didn't they rotate?
Then I didn't know that. So.
I was gonna say, didn't they just rotate them in and out? That was my theory.
I was never really sure.
I'm looking at this. Laser has played every match for EXO except for one.
Also, it's just really unlucky because he probably had his best performance this week as well after nominations had already passed. Like,
if you compare, let's say you compare like Lore and Laser, they're both 5-2. and they both had like pop-off moments. I guess it kind of
Yeah.
just comes down to like, what would it come back down to? Like recency
Yeah.
bias, I guess. But even
Yeah.
then, I feel like Laser. Was
We
Laser
were
good
talking about
recently? I'm
Laura
asking
more
though.
in the beginning
Yeah,
of
I
the
feel.
season, so I think that
Yeah.
sort of played on
Yeah.
people's minds.
Yeah.
That being said, I still think Rav should get this by default, and if he gets
Yeah.
MVP, then I think Frozen gets it.
That's
by
what I was gonna
default.
say. I was gonna say Frozen wins it, but if Rav doesn't win MVP, Rav wins it.
Frozen's been
If
really,
Rav doesn't
really
win
good.
MVP, this is bullshit. But yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, it's I think so too. Flex DPS, Reborn, Squirrelben, Tanic B. This is tough, but I do
Yeah.
think Reborn deserves it just on impact of team consistency.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's really wrong on this list. I think Tanic's been dipping a lot of people recently. Honestly,
Far
and
RTP.
Alright.
I think Ben gets kind of roster diffed here because he's just
Yeah.
he's gonna get run less of the time, so like you can't make as strong of a case if there's people starting over you. And then, but again, that's because Tenacity has so many good pieces. But for me, I would probably pick Reborn because I think they like Reborn is like his like signature hero is like Tracer / Doomfist, which he always is gonna look good on, and then Tanic is like the more Pharah, and he's always gonna look good on that. But I think outside of that, Reborn has had, in my opinion, higher like peaks with the flex DPS that he's not really known for as much over Tanic. So that's why I would vote Reborn.
I would give it to Reborn for the sole fact I feel like Reborn's just your star player.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because I feel like if Tanic, like if you flip sides, like you put Tanic on Wombat, I think he would get it. I feel like since DC like has quote unquote more star players, in my opinion, Reborn has an easier chance of winning this award because he's gonna be the biggest impact on your team. So I
Yeah,
would give it to
no,
Reborn
that's
for that.
That being said, I do want to we talked about Matson for the 7th man, and Sem as well. Like they both
Yeah.
have
No.
been
Yeah.
really good. Arrow hasn't been
that's
around
just-
as much. He's also insane at the game, but
But yeah, he
both
he
of
came,
them
what, last game?
have a significant impact. For
Or not
sure.
last game. He came back. Did he come back? Did he come
You-
last game or
you-
what game did he come?
You know, I also have to shout out Swifter. I know like he again he didn't really like later in the season he was good, but I feel like he kind of gets snubbed by these three. If that makes sense, he was pretty good this season. I would give Swifters a shout as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just unlucky there was the rest of the talent.
I
like, in
I
the
didn't get to say
position.
this when we're talking about MVP. In their game on Lijiang against Exodus, Reborn had 22 of the 42 kills on the team. Like he had 22 final blows. Like he fled a deadlift literally. So
That's crazy.
Reborn quite good at the game.
There's a reason he's MVP on a team that's, I mean, that's, you know, outside the
MVP
top
nominee.
four, right? Yeah, or
Yeah.
MVP nominee. Yeah.
We should probably move on.
three
to
Main
more-
support,
support,
Corey,
yeah.
Adafi, Slimeall, Deefy. Yeah, okay. Corey, I think, deserves it. I think the list is pretty. This one's another one I pretty much agree with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think there's a mistake on this list. I give it to Corey, not even for a DC bias, because I feel like Tenacity, like say they still have Frogman, I feel like they'll still be doing the same thing with Frogman, compared to when we didn't have Corey, and remember when we played Wombat, we just looked so much worse without Corey in that game, just in
We did
general.
play Silvertell's main support.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of,
To be fair, he was
Silvertell's
playing
played more
Mercy,
maps.
so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But still, no.
Yeah.
I'm on this list, and I still agree that Corey wins it.
Corey should win that.
I think you deserve. I think nobody else deserves to be on the list. Okay, I'm just gonna move us quick over to Flex Support. Eye Mustache Monarch Silver. This one's tough,
think
but I
this
think it's
one's
Eye
easy.
Mustache.
I think this one's easy. I feel like this is easy. I feel like I should win it, then Monarch be the runner-up, because I feel like the DC Flex supports, because I think they both deserve to be shouted, but I feel like Monarch is just their consistent starter, so therefore he should get it for that sole fact.
I did scream it last like a few minutes ago, but Silvertell's did actually play more maps in Basket, so by technicality, he should be up here in Basket, shouldn't. But
Didn't he play, like, didn't Basket play more series? I'm not saying maps, I'm saying
No.
series.
Silver played more series.
I swear to God, I could go on the schedule right now and tell you every series he's played, and I swear to God, Basket has 5 and Silver has 4.
Oh, they tied! They tied! Because they both played fucking in week
Wombat. Yeah, they both played. That's what I'm trying to say. I swear to God, he had one more.
2. I
over
forgot
that.
week 7. For some reason, this wasn't updated to week 7.
Like, I can go over it now quickly.
No,
So,
I got it. No.
I mean, it's unlucky, but I think for that, it's the same thing with the tanks, right? Like, I just think
Yeah,
it
no,
has
I
to go
agree.
to
It wouldn't have been
Iron
either
Fist,
either way.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
I just think iMustache wins that, and I think
Yeah,
Monarch gets second.
Monarch's gonna get second. Yeah.
Also, for the record, my name has 2 L's at the end.
Oh,
But it's okay.
It's
Like
okay.
mole.
Slime mole.
it's right on the name thing. It just wasn't right when I.
Yeah, no, like
yeah.
I said, it does not matter.
Okay, so moving on to playoff predictions. I have my bracket up, but we can kind of talk through the games really quick, and this is going to serve as like our almost end point. So, Tenacity MI6 is going to be the first one on the schedule. I have it as a 3-1 for Tenacity. I think Tenacity, with their full roster, Oats hopefully coming back at full power, and then having to actually get people on their roles, I think they're going to handle this one pretty well. I can see MI6 taking a map, but yeah, it's. I think this one's pretty one-sided.
I agree with Navina's predictions. I think it's a 3-0. I think there's a plausibility where one of the DPS or maybe even Andrew, maybe even Monarch do some cool shit and they get a map. But I feel like 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be a 3-0 from Tenacity. I just think they're a good team.
I don't even like agree with that to an extent. I feel like MI6 just gets a map just because of DPS. I'm gonna go off that just because DPS. Like Laura or Swifter's just gonna go off for like one map and then that'll be it.
I agree.
Like they could just choose like fucking Gibraltar or some shit and just win a map because Laura.
Slimo?
Yeah,
thoughts?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm with Kern. I think it's a 3-0 almost every time. I just don't see with the meta trending the way it is. I just don't see. Yeah, I don't like MI6 doesn't really have a wrecking ball player.
No, they do
No.
not.
So it's like
they do not.
it's just gonna be really hard to like if you're already at a compositional disadvantage to beat like the arguable best team when they are playing like the good comps and are just I don't know have stars
And have a
at every
straight
role.
up ball player.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know. I just can't see them unless they like pull something out that's super weird. I just see it being a 3-0, and I don't even think MI6 is that bad. But like, it's just a
No,
tough
I
matchup.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. And moving on, we got Double Cap and Exodus. I have it as a 3-1. Nev has it as a 3-2, both in favor of Double Cap. I think Double Cap's playing some of their best like team play over the past stretch, while Exodus's new team works. I think there is still gaps in their understanding of what they're running that I think Double Cap will be able to punish. Double Cap representatives, any thoughts on the game?
It's gonna be a lot more interesting because we don't have Katagiri for this game. So we're actually gonna have Nikos in this lineup. I do think we still beat them, but we might struggle versus them a little bit more because of that. But I do think we still beat them. But I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be like an incredibly close series, or we're gonna incredibly roll them. I feel like it could be like a free one, kind of like how you predicted, or I could just see it going anyway. Like, it could be close.
I think it's going to map 5. I think even if we had Kata, whether we have Nikos, Kata, whatever, I just think this goes to map 5 just because I think their team is just good. Like this Exodus team is good, and with the amount of times DC decides to forget how to play the game during a map, I think, and just Exodus like pulling out I expect Exodus to pull out a new fun comp on like a different map, and DC's gonna go, huh? And then they're just gonna blow by them on 2 maps. And honestly, they could win in 5. Like I'm not gonna just blow Double Cap in the water. Like, oh wait, that was a bad analogy. I don't think Double Cap just wins in a map 5 scenario every time. I think Exodus definitely has a chance. It's more dependent on like who's gonna do well with the comps that they're running. Like, is Exodus gonna take over with their like different comps that no one's really playing like consistently, or is Double Cap just gonna stick to like the normal comps that everyone's been playing and still win?
Yeah, I think Double Cap is definitely favored, but like not even by a lot. Like I just the only thing that I would confidently predict is that it's not going to be a 3-0.
Oh yeah,
like,
no.
by either side. But like whoever, like either team could win. But in my opinion, I would put my money on double cap.
Well, we got lucky this week, so all our predictions seem to be in alignment, where we can talk about the second set of games as if these predictions came true. So that would put Mortal Wombat up against MI6, Vitalize up against Exodus. Thoughts on those? Any upsets to where a double loser is out by the next podcast?
MI6 versus Mortal Wombat, in my eyes, can literally go either way, because it's really dependent on what roster is Mortal Wombat coming out with, because they've subbed out they've subbed out their hit scan multiple times, and now they have 3 hit scans to choose from. They have Navino and Moni swapping back and forth. Is Romy gonna play Sigma, or is he gonna play Ryan? Like, I feel like there are so many questions in the air for Mortal Wombat. They did not look good against Vitalize, but I still think as a team and as a roster, that is a good roster. You can't just like say, oh yeah, MI6 is better. They're look at record, look at their win-loss, blah blah blah. No, that is gonna be a like super close game. I could see it going either way.
The playoffs, there's always some sort of upset, and you know, I did my hot take on Papega and Tenacity in the week 1 of the countdown. I had to do one now. I think Wombat wins this series in an upset.
I don't think that's that big of an upset.
Yeah, I actually do think it's kind of a big upset, because like you said, you can't really predict what they're going to play, and I feel like that's going to be hard to predict them to win because of that.
But the crazy thing is, like, if Mortal Wombat 3-0'd, I would not be entirely surprised. Like, I would not go, oh wow, they 3-0'd. This is groundbreaking.
I would, because I feel like
Really?
I feel like Laura, Swifter, Andrew, and Monarch would be enough to, like, you know, get a map or two. Even like if they're inconsistent.
I'm saying that not against MI6's strength, but I'm saying that I feel like Mortal Wombat and MI6 both have like this really weird, like, they can be on any level type thing. They could be a top team. They could be a mid tier team.
Yes, the play down to your opponent argument.
Yeah, like imagine 2 opponents who play down to their opponent, play each other. How are they gonna play? We don't know.
I feel like that's just about 5 in chaos.
Exactly, and that's why I think it could literally go either way.
The thing I'll say is, I know we haven't had like good performances recently, so like it's totally fair for people to predict MI6. But again, when we played them, it was another case of like, oh damn, we could have won 3-1 pretty easily. Like Anubis was super winnable. Like a bunch of times we kind of just let ourselves down. And in that series, not saying anything bad about T-Tar. I think T-Tar played fine. But like, I think if I'm there, it's like the amount of things I do in comms for us, and if we just actually play things that we're good at, I think we are, in my opinion, heavily favored. I know that's biased, but MI6 can definitely still win. I'm definitely not saying we're gonna come in and roll, but
honestly, contrary to what you just said, now that you said that, I'm saying 3-1 MI6.
Oh my god.
I think oh, and by the way, if it's Tenacity in that bracket instead, I think Tenacity.
I'm gonna be real. Tenacity
we wouldn't play Tenacity.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
If Tenacity's through, Tenacity would play Vitalize.
It would be loser. That's right. That's too many scenarios to figure out. That's what I'm
Tenacity somehow loses the MI6. Tenacity's gonna pull some SF shock type shit and just piss off on the losers bracket.
I really hope
and just to touch on Vitalize, like, I don't think they beat any other team in the playoffs, honestly. Like, I do think it's good that they got a team together that can be competitive, but with just their scheduling, how I think it is, like, availability, maybe they could upset. I don't think so, though. I think I have Vitalize not going through passes.
You're not vibing with Jolt Nanoblade?
No.
See, the problem with Vitalize is I feel like even though their roster is not like that bad on paper, I feel like just like looking at that roster, I don't know what team they could beat in playoffs. Like out of the 5 teams, I think they can take maps off a few teams. And maybe even the top, like if they either Tenacity or Double Cap, or Exodus, I guess they could play Tenacity, Exodus, or Double Cap. I think they could take a map off any 3 of those, but I don't think in any world they beat any 3 of those.
Dude, I'm telling you, you're just not vibing with the Jolt Nano Blades.
And even the one game we saw Jolt play, he nanobladed once and then decided to play Mystery Heroes for the rest of the
Yeah, he
match.
played like Doom and Junkrat.
Yeah, he played Doom, Junkrat, Soldier, Creed, Tracer. He played everything.
They're a fun team to watch, I guess.
Bro, I'm telling you, he's gonna have Yoink flashbacks where Jolt Nano Blades his way
don't
to
say
grand
that.
finals.
Don't say that, man. I don't need to hear. I don't want flashbacks. Not good flashbacks.
All right. Well, I think we've been going on for 50 minutes, so I think we can wrap it up, guys. I'm Jeff once again. You guys want to do a quick goodbye?
All right. It was
say
nice
bye.
to be. It was nice to be the Vino for a session, and yeah, I'm dead now.
And
Wait, just say one word Navino take.
Oh, the Vino take?
oh yeah.
All right. I think Mortal Wombat's gonna upset Exodus, and they're gonna do it with Mani tank line in, and they're gonna do a T-Tar in. Yes, there we go.
The T-Tar Monty,
True.
the upset.
Yeah, the
You
T-Tar Mani.
foiled all of our plans.
Yes.
All of the surprise factors now
Dude,
gone.
Mani's gonna come in on ball and roll these kids.
It's gonna be an exciting. So first game start at 8 on Friday. Losers start at 8 on Saturday. Then, right? You guys do back to back this weekend, right?
Yeah, don't worry. I'm telling you, Mani's gonna do the things he learned from Guangdong Tigers on the Wrecking Ball and win it. Winnable, man.
And thank you, Kern, for joining us.
Yeah, it was fun.
And thank you, Slimeall.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited for playoffs to watch and play. And vote Sly for the non-existent runner-up.
Vote
award.
Jerry.
Vote Jerry.
Yeah, vote Jerry. Yeah, vote
Vote
Jerry.
Jerry. Vote Jerry.
Vote Jer. Vote Jer. All right, thanks, y'all, and y'all have a good week.